So again, 10 in virtues is gonna get you improved spirit weapon duration. That's the 5th trait in the virtues tree. It's gonna make your spirit weapons last 50% longer. So instead of your shield lasting 20 seconds, it's gonna last 30 seconds. And then of course it's on a 60-second cooldown, so you're gonna have a 30-second lapse where you don't have that arcane weapon out. Again, I don't really recommend this necessarily for melee builds as much as I do for ranged builds. You're probably gonna want to close the gap if you're running a melee build, or you're gonna have retaliation up. But nonetheless, it can be very good if you're getting pounded by projectiles, so something to consider. Are there any utilities that I haven't gone over? Okay, wall of reflection. Wall of reflection is very good if you're at a choke point. Of course, it's not going to deflect siege projectiles, but nonetheless, it is very good, and it's also a light field. So if I've got an enemy that's sitting behind this wall of reflection trying to throw projectiles at me, I can stack retaliation. So if he does decide to charge me, or that wall reflection goes down, he's then going to be taking my retaliation damage. Retaliation does scale by power. The exact math is 267 base damage at level 80, and
use join your channel.
and the
Kongs on the server.
Your power divided by 13.4. So assuming the average power is around 1600, your retaliation damage is going to be about, close to 400. Remember that that's going to be a direct hit to them. It does not take into account their toughness. It's like a condition essentially. It just cuts right through their toughness, and they take that hit no matter what. Any damage from conditions does not count as retaliation damage. Will not count towards retaliation damage. However, any physical damage that is done will count as a retaliation hit, and that will be placed back on your enemy for several hundred damage usually. On that note, talking about retaliation, let's use the Tome of Wrath. So everybody equip their Tome of Wrath, and I will show you guys how to use the Tome of Wrath to make a very nice offensive push. So you pull out this Tome of Wrath, and if you read the tooltip, it says you're going to have retaliation the entire time, right? So remember that the 4 is going to give you quickness, 3 seconds of quickness, and 10 seconds of fury. This fury is going to be really nice towards giving you critical hits for you to stack vigor. For the reason that, like, my crit chance when I don't have Tome of Wrath out is about 10%. When I do pull it out, it goes up to 74%. So I can then stack tons of vigor, give everybody quickness, give everybody fury, including myself, and then throw down tons of AoE damage. So usually what I do when I pull out Tome of Wrath is I pop the 4 right away to give everybody haste. I tell everybody, hey guys, get ready to DPS. And then once that goes off, it's off to the races. Just spam your one skill, spam your one skill. If there's a lack of might in the group, throw down your 3 to give them 5 stacks of might and swiftness. And that swiftness is going to help you steamroll the enemy Zerg. It's going to, swiftness is going to give you that movement advantage. So you're going to be able to chase down enemies. Of course, overextending is not encouraged, but if you need to push an enemy out of an area, this is a fantastic elite. I highly encourage a lot of people to use it. And it's also going to scale your health up to, if you've got about 20k health, talking about 20k health, it's going to scale you up to about 30k. so it seems like it's like a 50% health increase around there. So if you've got full health and you're like, hey, you know what? I want to push these guys all out of here. Pop that and just charge in, and everybody will follow right after
DFND
you.
J
Once
Skytree
they realize they've got
disconnected from the
quickness,
server.
they're gonna follow suit and push the enemy back, and those enemies are gonna be scared. They'll have no idea where all these people are getting their haste from, or quickness from rather, and they're gonna be doing loads of DPS. So if you do need to make a push the enemy out, that's one elite I do recommend. I know a lot of people are big fans of Renewed Focus, and yes, that's probably really good for a support build, where you know you're gonna get CC'd, you're gonna get targeted.
DFND Aristocratic Azure switched channel to PvE Party 2
It is a
on the
good
server.
one, but realize that. Has anybody taken a look at the Battle Presence trait? Nearby allies gain virtue results passive effect. Okay. So that's going to apply, that effect is going to apply within a certain radius to you, and up to 5 people. And realize that while you're at virtue resolve and cooldown, your allies are still getting that passive effect from you. So, Renewed Focus is something that I don't consider the most useful, but it can be good in small groups. I guess the next elite, or the last elite rather, would be Dome of Courage, the healing one. This is fantastic for a staff hammer build that's all about, you know, healing, supporting, all that stuff. The big abilities to note. I know a lot of people like to use the 5, but continued healing is a lot of times better than burst healing, for the reason that you can easily get CC during that time. You know, so if you are going to use Tome of Courage, I recommend throwing down Hallowed Ground right beforehand, or telling one of your allies to throw down Hallowed Ground for you, so that you don't get CC'd during that time when you are charging up your full heal. Because if you do get CC'd, you know, and you're at like 90% of that charge, pretty much your entire lead will be wasted. Then you're gonna have to wait a couple minutes, and nobody wants to be in that situation. Nobody wants to feel like when they pop their elite that they just did not have all that to an effect. So I will tell you to be careful with that, and I will say that just providing that 1 and the 3, which gives you regen, and let's see what else. So yeah, the 3 applies protection and regen to allies in a cone. That one's gonna be probably your best friend. It's got a 15-second cooldown, so you probably only get to use it once. So make sure that you do use it on people that you intend to do that. And then the 2 is going to remove conditions and blinding foes. But like I said before, the heal area is going to be your best bet to use throughout the extent of your elite, because it's going to provide continuous healing throughout that time. Again, this is really good if you've got enemies AoEing your allies that are on rams, and you want to keep your allies on rams alive. I feel like that's something that people don't do enough, is they don't support the people on siege. So, you know, if you do see someone getting their ass kicked on a ram, try to give them a little help with the Tome of Courage if you're running that sort of build. We're kind of getting towards the end of our chunk of time here, so what would you guys like to practice? What do you guys feel would be most advantageous for us to practice right now? Or would you guys like to hear me go over the different combo fields again? This is where it's up to you guys, which you want me to reiterate.
I hear people debate oftentimes what's better for a more defensive build, a focus or a shield. Do you have any opinions on that?
Well, it really depends what you're trying to do. If you're tr- if you are trying to if you're in the scenario where you're getting a bunch of conditions placed on you, um, I would definitely say run focus because that's gonna bounce to your allies, give them regen and cure condition. The 5 is a nice blast finisher that's gonna block a couple physical attacks. Um, so it doesn't provide group damage negation, whereas the shield does. The 4 gives 8 seconds of protection to your allies. So that's going to be awesome if you're running into a situation where you're going to take a lot of physical damage, such as arrow carts. If you're getting pounded by arrow carts, definitely the 4 on the shield is going to be a lot more useful to you than any skill on the focus. And then, of course, the 5 is a nice little reflect projectile, has the same effect as a Shield the Avenger. And if you spam it, if you pop 5 twice, it's going to give a nice little AoE heal for about 1.5k if you've got the average amount of heal power. You got like, say, like 800 heal power. It'll heal for a couple k. So I feel like the focus is a little more of a solo thing, and it's got a little bit of condition removal, whereas the shield is much better in a damage negation, support, buffing and healing allies type of scenario. Realize that a mace shield between the 3 and the 4, you've got plenty of protection to apply to your allies. So if you're running a full support tank build, I recommend Mace Shield because that's going to give you, like I said, plenty of protection, a good amount of healing. The 2 is a nice little light field that applies regen to your allies.